Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS. To you I say shalom, and shalom unto the hopeful elect. So I'll post a link in the description during post-production. Going to be a link to the article. So it says here, multiple U.S. presidents have admitted the U.S. government is run by intergenerational organized crime. So this is just more evidence of how the former U.S. presidents have come out and said in their speeches that there is a shadow government that is controlling the United States government. And it's not your presidents and your governors that are in control. And what he's really talking to or referring to are the international banking families. And that's true because the scriptures calls them the secret council of the wicked. And that's found in Psalms, the 64th chapter. It's a psalm of King David too. So that secret council is really governing the United States. Some like to say oligarchs, but really they are the banking families, or you can call them the banksters. Some that come to mind are the Rockefellers. They're well known over here in the United States. They're a well-known family that is in control of America. Right? They have a lot of influence over here in America. The Rothschilds, the Gettys, the DuPonts, right, and other families. I believe it's banking families that own the Federal Reserve. There was a book called En Route to Global Occupation. It basically brought out that information. So yes, there is a shadow government that is in control of the United States government. And this article goes into that. So it says whistleblowers, confessions, and quotes, some on video. We'll see if I can blow this up here. And it says, behind the ostensible government sits enthroned an invisible government owing no allegiance and acknowledging no responsibility to the people. To destroy this invisible government, to befoul this unholy alliance between corrupt business and corrupt politics, is the first task of the statesmanship of today. And this is Theodore Teddy Roosevelt. Governmentscan.com, artofliberty.org. So yeah, this is a former president, and he brought this out. This is his quote. I'll read a little bit. Let's see here. I make the case in government the biggest scam in history exposed, that the government is run by intergenerational organized crime centered around banking. Yeah, and that's true because just for example, look at the Rothschild family. Because who do the Rothschilds go back to? They go back to Meyer Amschel Bauer, right? Meyer Amschel Bauer, which really just means peasant. He was really a peasant. I believe he worked for who? I think he worked for, I think it was the Gettys he worked for, or was it the DuPonts? I think he worked for the DuPonts for a period of time, and then he became big. His family name became very prominent in the banking industry and finances. But yeah, he was really a peasant. Those Rothschilds, that's their origins. They're really peasants. Meyer Amschel Bauer, that's their forefather. And he had 5 sons, and those 5 sons, they each owned a bank, and they controlled the banking in different countries in Europe, and they're still prominent to this very day. I believe it was the 4th Baron that just he passed away this year. I believe it was Jacob Rothschild. Yeah, he goes back to Meyer Amschel Bauer. So yes, this is intergenerational. Organized crime is passed on down to generation to generation, and you're seeing that. Okay. So, yeah, man, it's true. It is intergenerational. It's true. Organized crime centered around banking and central banking. This organized crime cartel has been using fractional reserve banking to create money out of thin air, and that's bad. That's bad. So if you don't understand what fractional reserve banking is, basically, fractional reserve banking is pretty much a system where I believe banks are only required to keep a fraction of bank deposits on hand. So that means your bank holds a percentage of your money, and at the same time it's lending the rest of that money out to others, or investing the money to grow their total available funds, right? So that's fractional reserve banking, and that's not really a good system. It isn't perfect, and there's a lot of cons to that system. Some of the cons are, it can lead to economic instability or a financial crisis. And that's if banks create too much money and lend it out recklessly, right? And that can cause inflation, asset bubbles, and also market crashes. That's very serious, man. And that's why you had problems like the SVB, which is the Silicon Valley Bank crisis. We saw that 2008 recession. Man, you see the financial crisis that Greece went through in its prime, right, in its peak, right? Or in its beginning. I mean, not peak, in its beginning, and it's still going through a crisis. They still haven't bounced back. So, fractional reserve banking, it's not a perfect system. It's really fraud. It's really fraud. And you can go into James 5th chapter. Talks about how it says, "Woe unto you, rich men." They've pretty much gotten riches by deceit, and this is a way these elites, aka the bankers, that's how they get their riches, by fraud, by deceit, through fractional reserve banking. So just keep that in mind, man. So it says, and they have bought up and monopolized the media to deceive and distract the public away from what is really going on. One of the frequent objections that I receive is, surely if there was a criminal conspiracy this vast, then someone would have talked. The facts are that American history is replete with whistleblowers who have courageously risked their lives to bring organized crime activities to the public's attention, but whose testimony has been buried by the propaganda matrix of the organized crime's monopoly media's news and 24/7 distractions of weaponized media and children's games played by adults. True. The gaming industry, and also bread and circus, which is sports and entertainment. Well, really, it's really sports, drugs, and entertainment. Reminds me of one of my favorite rappers I grew up listening to, Cameron, aka Killer Cam. He's the head of Dipset. Right. Well, he's really the face of Dipset. He made a lot of the Dipset rappers rich, and he put them on the map, pretty much. But you had other powerful members that came out of Dipset, like Duke the God, and also Shice Bubs. But he was the main guy. He was like that main face for Dipset. He made an album called Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment. And he was basically rapping and telling you that's what it's all about in America: sports, drug, and entertainment. So that's what they use to distract you: sports, drugs, and entertainment. So they put a lot of money into their entertainers. They put a lot of money into drugs and the games, man. So TV, etc. Soap operas. Anyways, it says here are some verifiable quotes from those who have tried to warn us, including multiple U.S. presidents, confessions from the criminals themselves, including some mind-blowing confessions on video. And here's a video of Theodore Roosevelt, or Teddy Roosevelt, and he basically says the quote that I read earlier on the top here. All right, so this is out of his own mouth.
Political bodies exist to staff, both of the old bodies have ganged aside. Instead of instruments to promote the general welfare, they have become the tools of corrupt interests which use them impartially to serve their selfish purposes. Behind the ostensible government sits enthroned an invisible government, owing no allegiance and acknowledging no responsibility to the people. To destroy this invisible government, to dissolve the unholy alliance between corrupt business and corrupt politics, is the first task of the statesmanship of the day.
There you go. So he basically just said the quote that I read to you earlier, right? That's what he said in the video, in the clip, right? So it says, behind the ostensible government sits enthroned an invisible government owning no allegiance and acknowledging no responsibility to the people to destroy this invisible government. To befoul this unholy alliance between corrupt business and corrupt politics is the first task of the statesmanship of today. Beautiful. And it is an unholy alliance. Like the scripture says, the secret counsel of the wicked. They are the wicked, and we know who the wicked is. The wicked really comes out of Esau, Edom. Yes, you do have the wicked of our people, but the wicked is Esau, Edom. And the Edomites are, and the international banking families, they are Edomites. They are Edomites. They go back to Esau, Edom. So they are the wicked, very unholy. And they are backed by the spiritual demon Satan, man. You can Google images about the Rothschild party that took place, I believe, back in the 70s at the Rothschild mansion. They were doing a lot of occultic things. I think it was an occultic party. And also, I believe that's where they shot the movie Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. So, yeah, you know what they're about. They're backed by the spiritual demon Satan heavily. So, it says here, Theodore Teddy Roosevelt, U.S. President, the Progressive Covenant with the People speech, 1912. Okay, there you go. The real truth of the matter is, as you know and I know, that a financial element in the larger centers has owned the government ever since the days of Andrew Jackson. Now, here's some more quotes by other presidents and powerful figures. So I'm going to quote a little bit and then I'm going to get the scriptures. So Franklin Delano Roosevelt, U.S. President, letter to Colonel Edward Mandel. Now it says here, since I entered politics, I have chiefly had men's views confided to me privately. Some of the biggest men in the United States in the field of commerce and manufacture are afraid of something. They know that there is a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive, that they better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it. That's true. And we're seeing that today, man. You can't talk about the people who write the check. And that comes in the forms of the so-called Jews as well, so, aka Zionists, and international banking families, right? And their power, they get their power from secrecy. And if you come up against them, they'll silence you or kill you. So it's true. People are afraid to speak up because they have a lot of power. They can kill you, man. They'll send a hitman after you, destroy your business, take all your money away. They'll do whatever it takes. They'll turn your own family against you. So it says here, Woodrow Wilson, former president of the United States, from the days of Spartacus, Weishaupt, to those of Karl Marx, and down to Trotsky, Bela Kun, Rosa Luxemburg, and Emma Goldman, this worldwide conspiracy for the overthrow of civilization and for the reconstitution of society on the basis of arrested development, of envious malevolence, and impossible equality has been steadily growing. It played, as a modern writer, Miss Webster has so ably shown, a definitely recognizable part in the tragedy of the French Revolution. It has been the mainspring of every subversive movement during the 19th century, and now at last this band of extraordinary personalities from the underworld of the great cities of Europe and America have gripped the Russian people by the hair of their heads and have become practically the undisputed masters of that enormous empire. It's true, man. It's true. It's true. Yeah. You know, all these revolutions and all these coup d'états, they're all created by the elite, which is really the banking families, right? Man, did you realize? I'm gonna just use this as an example. Late last month, there was a three-hour coup that took place in Bolivia, right? Who's responsible for that? I believe what's it called? I believe the ruler of Bolivia, I forgot his name. Shoot, I think it's Ars. Yeah, that's his name. Ars. I forgot his last name. I think it's Ars Morales. Yes, I believe he's the prime minister or president of Bolivia. His general came up against him. I believe it was Nuiguez. Forgot his name, man. It just slipped. Yeah, I think it was General Zuniga. Yeah, that's right. General Zuniga. That's right. He came against Bolivia's President Luis Arce. That's right. That's his name. I don't know. I just forgot it. But yeah, he came up against him, and he tried to take down Zuniga. But then when they took down the General Zuniga, General Zuniga, he said that Luis Arce basically put him up to the task to set up the coup. So what he's basically saying is that Zuniga created a self-coup, a self-coup d'état to make himself look stronger in the eyes of the public. And Zuniga, I believe, not Zuniga, Luis Arce, I believe he was backed by the powers that be in the United States, and that's because of the lithium mines that they have, right? So we know that there is a partial U.S. influence in that. So, anyways, we know that we know the U.S. is in there for some reason, but whatever, it is what it is. But all of those things, they're controlled by the elites, the banking families. They have their hands in those things. And you don't see them being talked about. You just see that the figures that are pushed out in the front, like your presidents, your generals, and things of that nature, they get the blame. They're really the patsy. But the person who's controlling things behind the scenes are the international banking families. So, whatever. Actually, I'm done reading from here. Like I said, I'll post a link in the description during post-production. Let me get to the scriptures. It's been 18 minutes in, so let's get Psalm 64. This is Psalm 64. Psalm 64, verse 1. It says, prayer for deliverance from the secret enemies. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O power, and my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. Yeah, because he had enemies that were within his nation, and he had enemies that were outside of his nation that were plotting against him. So he's asking the Lord, man, preserve my life, protect me. Let me see who's going to come up against me so I can anticipate and react. So it says, verse 2, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword. Yeah, and you have the secret counsel of the wicked, and I'm gonna bring it to the time that we're living in, modern biblical times. Who's the secret counsel? We're reading about it, right? And your presidents, they're telling you about it. These are the secret counsel of the wicked, the people who control the banks, the people who control the money, the Federal Reserve, the people who control the resources. They're the secret counsel of the wicked. Uh-oh. My bad. Yeah, they're the secret counsel of the wicked, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. And that comes through their their media, the propaganda machine. And even in the article, it talks about Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays, which he's the father of propaganda. He even brought out information that there is a shadow government that is in control. And pretty much he's letting you know they put me up to the task to bring forth propaganda. Right? So I believe this is it. Okay, so this is Edward Bernays, pioneer in corporate PR and propaganda, which he's a so-called Jew, by the way. He's a small hat. So it says, those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed. Our minds are molded. And that's right, because that's where you get the term government. It means to govern the mind. Right? So that's called social engineering. A lot of you people are programmed to go against each other, white versus black, black versus brown, etc. That's all to keep control. And they really don't want people to be united. They really don't. They don't. They don't. But we know, us that are in the know, in the truth, in the scriptures, we know it's not about coming together. It's really about nations, and it's really about the Lord's plan. Okay? And really, who set this up? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, pursuing to Job, the 12th chapter. I believe it's Job, what the hell is that? Oh, it's just a fly, my bad. Job 12, verse 16, right? Actually, let me pull that up. Goes into the deceive and the deceiver are his. The Lord, he set this up. Job 12, verse 16. It says, with him is strength and wisdom, the deceive and the deceiver are his. Yeah, and that's true. The deceived and deceiver are his. The one that's doing the deceiving, the Lord has put him there. The one who is deceived, the Lord put him there. Right? The Lord is in control of all of that. So he set up these devils to deceive the world and to gain control of the world. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. Right? This devil, he was loose for 1,000 years. Or after the 1,000 years were expired, he was loosed. He was loosed out of his prison. And he went into the four corners of the earth. And guess what he did? He deceived the world, man. He deceived the nations. Do I got to get the scripture for you? That's what it says. So the Lord, he set this up. He set this up. He set up the powers that be. And believe it or not, the unseen hand, the shadow government, the international banking families, the crime lords, they were set up by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. They are power that stands in the earth. And the Lord set them up. Anyways, let's go back to Psalms 64. Psalm 64, verse 3, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. Yeah, and that comes from their propaganda going into the media. Right? Media is all bought and controlled and paid for by the elite banking families, man. And also going into the school system, right? How they teach their kids and how they bring up a nation. The next generation of workers is created in what? The public school system. So really, your kids, man, they're not even getting a real education. And that even goes into post-secondary, because they control that too. You're not getting a real education. And really, that's a scam. Pumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into an institution, and you're not getting the benefit of that. You're not getting a real education. What the fuck is that? It's just really, it's really to teach you how to deceive. That's what I figured out when going to university, man. The ones who do well are the ones that know how to cheat and get away with it. If you know how to cheat good, you're going to do very well in university, and you're going to get a good job coming out of school. You have to know how to cheat. You have to know how to lie. I figured that out, man. And I know how to cheat too. I knew how to cheat, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It's the public fool system, and They just create workers. They don't create thinkers. They just create workers. And that's what they want. So, yeah, let me just go back to Edward Bernays here. It says, we are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested. That's right, social engineering. Largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. In almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind. And you know how he knows that? Because he had to work for them. Okay? He had to work for them. Okay? Because he was set up. He was put there. Just like all these men. And really, this is all controlled opposition. All these men were set up here. And that's real politics. Okay? Making people think that you're working for them when you're really against them. And that's all these politicians, that's all these presidents. They all make it seem like they're working for you, but they're really working against you. And that goes in, and you can find it in the scriptures, man. Go into Revelation chapter 13. Matter of fact, do I gotta get it for you? Yes, I do. Gotta get it for you. This is Revelation chapter 13. And it says here, spake like a lamb. Hold on. Hold on. I think it's Revelation 13. Spake like a lamb. No, spake like a dragon. Yeah, Revelation 13 and 11. That's what it is. The beast from earth. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell in therein to worship the first beast, and whose deadly wound was healed. That's right. And this is the new Roman Empire coming into power again. And it means he exercised all the power of the first beast. Just simply means he brought forth the old Romanized system back into play. Pretty much. The Roman way of doing things. Comes with your congressmen, your senators, your senate houses, parliament, you name it. It's the same thing. Ruling with your Caesars. You know, your presidents are what, nominated in? They're voted in. What is it? They come into power, and they come into power, and then they go out of power. Right? They're voted in. It's not a monarchy, right? I believe they call that a triumvirate, going into the scriptures, or a trifecta, which is the rule of 3. When you go into the Apocrypha, right? So that's the Roman way of doing things, okay? Because that's how Rome did it back then. But what I really want to get into is, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb. That's right. So 2 horns really represents the 2-party system, Democrats and Republicans. And they make it seem like they're going against each other, but they're really working with each other. And how do you know that? Because a lot of those people that are put in to those parties, especially those presidential candidates, they're brought forth by an electoral college. Okay? And really your vote at the end of the day is a suggestion. So really you're not choosing these people. They've already been chosen to rule. It doesn't matter which one you pick, because they were already brought forth by the unseen hand, the electoral college. And who controls the electoral college? Obviously we know who that is. The elite banking families, man. They control all of that. They set that up. But yeah, they make it seem like they're working for you, but they're really not. oh, I'm going to vote Democrat because of what he's saying, what policies he's going to bring forth if he were to get into power. And then when you vote that guy into power, he doesn't do anything that he says. And then you get fucked over, and then you're left with the tab, man. That's what it is. And that's politics, man. It's fucking you over. It's about fucking that guy over and deceiving him into thinking that he's doing you a favor. Okay, that's real politics. Making someone believe that you're working for them, but you're really working against them. All right. So, anyways, man, kind of redundant, over explaining. So let's go back here. Psalm 64. Let's go back to Psalm 64, verse 4. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Yeah, who's the perfect? Right? The plain men, which are those that believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yoshai, starting with the elect, like with the scriptures, like when the scriptures described how Jacob was. The scripture says that he was a plain man dwelling in tents. You know what that means? A plain man just simply means he was morally upright and spiritually upright. So that's the perfect, the ones who believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yoshai, pretty much the sons of Jacob. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Yeah, who shall see me? I'm the unseen hand. And their power is in secrecy, man. And they don't like it when people know that they're ruling. Just like the mob. Right? And that's why the mob, they did lose a little bit of power. They're still up and running, the mob. They're still powerful. But they were at their peak when they were behind the scenes, when nobody knew about them. And nobody knew that there was a mafia. So their power is in secrecy. People not knowing about them. Verse 6, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Yeah, they search out iniquities, man. Search out wickedness. They hire people to dumb you down, to make sure they keep you in a revolving door of sin. Right? Like I said earlier, bread and circus, man. Or sports, drugs, and entertainment. Right? This is a heavily medicated society, and they like that. They like it when you people are on drugs. They like it when you're sick. So you can't see what they're doing, and so you can't defend yourself. So yeah, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, yeah, to keep you poor. Right? Keep you unhealthy, to break down the nuclear family, right? To make you addicted to pornography, man. Yeah, diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. Yeah, very deep, and they're far thinking, far fetched. They have plans for you, man. And everything that you see here, well, what do I mean by that? Everything that you see that is happening in the United States, it was planned. It was all planned. It was all planned, man. It was all planned. Every step that you made to counter them, they were already 2 steps ahead of you. Okay? So their heart is deep. They're very deep. And guess what? They know the scriptures. They know the scriptures. And they have anticipated everything. Well, they try to. And what do I mean by that? They're trying to upset the prophecies, man. So anyways, man, let me move on. It says here, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. That's true. And that arrow comes with the ICBMs, nuclear missiles. And also, I want to say this. The Savior is going to come back, which is Yahweh Shai. And he's going to take these devils down too. And put them into slavery. But that arrow going into the nuclear missiles is going to destroy them, man. To the point where they're going to have to go into hiding. Anyways, verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. At that, all that see them shall flee away. Yeah, and, make their own tongue to fall upon themselves is going into the whistleblowers. And the people that work for them, they're now speaking up against them. Because they have a conscience. Right? Like, oh, this is not right, man. That's why he's coming out. Even though he swore an oath to get into that position, and there's a lot of things that he was opened up to, and he's not telling you the full truth, this man right here. You know, he has to generalize things. You know, there's a secret government, and he knows the names of the people who run that secret government, but he can't come out and say it, right? But these are your whistleblowers. They're letting you know that, hey, man, I'm a part of a corrupt system, and yes, the system is corrupt, and pretty much America is going to be doomed if we continue to let these people rule. But has that stopped anything? No. All right, so yeah, that's going into your whistleblowers, man. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High, for they shall wisely consider of this doing. The righteous shall be glad in Yahweh and shall trust in him. And all the upright in the heart shall glory. Beautiful. That's true. That's true. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go into James 5. I could easily go into James 5. And I believe the title of that chapter, it goes into the misuse of riches. It starts off by saying, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." That's true, right? But I don't know if I should go into that. But that goes into the elite bankers, man, because they are the rich men of the earth, right? But in these last days, man, they're going to weep and howl for all the fraud and chaos that they have created and done. You know, they're going to pay for that. All the corruption they have brought forth in the world, they're going to pay for that. They're going to pay for that, right? They're going to pay for that. A lot of these elites, you're going into slavery, man, and the Lord's going to see to it that you will pay for your crimes, man. You elite banking families, man, you've done a lot of damage, man, to the earth and to its people. You have to pay. Matter of fact, let's get James. Let's just get it, man. Let's get James chapter 5, verse 1. Misuse of riches. "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." That's right. Cry like a bitch. Cry like a dog. You know, howl and cry like a dog. That's what you're going to do. Because right now you're celebrating, popping your champagne, and going to your occultic parties and having orgies and living it up. Because you elites, you don't really work. You don't work. You don't pull the trigger. You have hitmen. You have chefs. You have drivers. You have pilots. People that do things for you, man. Verse 2, "Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten." That's right, your riches are corrupted. Man, look at the Rockefellers. How'd they control oil? They did it by fraud, man. You know, they took out all their competition by force so they can control the oil and monopolize, man. Wicked, man. Stepping on other people's toes and taking out the competition at the same time and taking away another person's livelihood, man. It's wicked. So it says, verse 3, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days." And that's true, for the last days, because riches are never lost. They are just translated from one people to another. I believe that's in the Apocrypha. It says injuries dealt and gotten by deceit. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but let me pull that up, man. Let me pull that up. Riches, deceit. Yeah. That's Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8. "Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another." That's right. So, yes, riches are never lost. They're just translated from one people to another. So everything that you've stolen, you're going to have to give back to the children of Israel. Right? Hey, and through your fractional reserve banking, man, you've created a false balance, man. That's why this place is in debt. Because you stole all that money, and at the same time, you put you made the nation poor and you made a lot of people poor. That's a false balance, man. So yeah, you have to pay. You have to give those things back. Right? You have to give those things back. So anyways, riches is never lost. It's just translated from one people to another. Right? Just as the scripture said. So you have to pay. You have to pay for that, man. So anyways, here it says, ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. And we are in the last days. We are in the last days. And you international families, okay, you international banking families, Slock, you guys are trillionaires, man. Trillionaires. You haven't even started spending the money that you made now. You're still spending that old money. You haven't even touched that new money yet. That's serious, man. Verse 4, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is who? You Israelites, man. You're the ones in the field. You were brought over here to be slaves. Man, your land was stolen away from you, right? And then you became a laborer. That includes you Gadites. Because you Gadites, you went into slavery too. They shipped you out to Europe. They took you from your homeland here and shipped you over there to Europe. Yeah, you were slaves too. Don't forget that. And you were working in the field, getting whipped, just like the so-called black man. And you know why? Because that's the curses. And you are the same people, man. Getting whipped and getting beat down, getting raped, getting popped. All right? Read the book, The Delectable Negro, man. It goes into that. I think it's Vincent Woodrow. He wrote that book. He had a PhD, man. That book is very graphic, man. Very detailed. Man, you Edomites, man, that were in power back then, oh my gosh, you were sadistic as fuck. You were wicked. And you still are wicked to this very day. Your descendants, man. But yeah, it says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud. That's right, fraud. You know what fraud is? Theft, pretty much. Fraud is pretty much theft. Yeah. And you know, it's done by you white-collar crooks, which are you banking families and you people that run these corporations, man. These billion-dollar corporations, man. Do a lot of fraud, man. And you know all the loopholes in the system to cover your ass so you don't get arrested. Right? So it says, which of you kept back by fraud? False balance, too. What does the scripture say about a false balance? Fractional reserve banking. False balance. Oh, man. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 1. A false balance is an abomination to Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. Proverbs 20, verse 3. Diverse weights are an abomination unto Yahweh, Baal Shem Yahushai, and a false balance is not good. So, man, I gave you the definition earlier about fractional reserve banking, didn't I? That's a false balance, man. Fractional reserve banking, man, is a system where banks are only required to keep a fraction of bank deposits on hand. That's fucking fraud, man. What the fuck? So where is all the rest of my money going? And why is it being invested into other funds or things? Right? Right? Come on, man. That's backed by fraud, man. And that's why it leads to economic instability, and it causes financial crises, man. Come on, that's fraud, man. That's a false balance. Come on, man. Inflation. That's why you got inflation. That's why you got shrinkflation. Here it is. 10 years ago, you went into Walmart. You got a bag of chips, which you shouldn't be eating chips, but I'm using that as an example. Bag of chip costs what, like $3? Costs like $3 10 years ago. But the volume, how many grams? There's like what, 100 grams in that bag. 10 years later, you go back to Walmart, buy the same bag of chips. It's the same price, but it's not the same volume. Now it's 70 grams. You know, that's inflation, man. That's madness. Why aren't you getting the bang for your buck like you used to? Because this system is corrupt and it's false. It's backed by fraud, and it's a false balance. All right, so that's fucked up. For a lack of better words, I'm gonna say it that way. That's fucked up. That's messed up, man. That is messed up. So, yeah, let's go back. Why aren't you getting the bang for your buck like you used to? So it says, crieth and cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. That's right. So the cries have entered into the ears of the Lord of armies, not the Lord of the Sabbath or the Shabbat. Sabaoth means he's a man of war, a Lord of armies. So the Lord of armies, man, the Lord of war, he heard this. He's like, holy shit, my people are suffering. So that's not good. It's not good. Verse 5, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Living good. Living it up. In them big mansions. You have private islands that are dedicated to you, that you live on. Man, you living good. You can fly to China in the morning for breakfast, and then in the evening you can fly to Spain for dinner. That's how good you're living, man. You damn devils, man. Living good. Living good. You can pop as many women as you want. Right? You get bowed to, you're blessed. They bow down in front of you, calling you fourth baron, Lord this, Lord that. People are blessed, man. You live in pleasure, man. Lived in pleasure. Verse 6, ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. Who's the just? The just are you Israelites. You know why you're the just? Because you got the laws, statutes, and commandments. And guess what? They kill you. They don't like you. These elites. And it's gotten to the point that they stole your identity, man. God damn. But anyways, with that, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha, Kodash. And double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well and that do teach well and that have taught me this truth to you. I say shalom and shalom unto the hopeful elect. Kwam Yasha Allah and Abba Shalom.